I'm pushing through the soil with a crown of jagged thorns. Inside the quiet pressure, a miracle is born. Just like the resilience that the Savior showed us then, I'm breaking through the surface to start it all again.
I rose, the essence of the bloom, burning through the storm, making plenty room. Golden orange, praising the glory of the sun. Watch out for the rise, and the work has just begun. I rose, a slow burning flame in the indigo night. I'm calling out the name from the thorns to the victory, shining through the gray. I am the EyeRose at the end of the day.
Crucified and tortured, the piercing at the brow, but the faith remains the anchor that is holding me right now. I will survive as long as I keep the vision clear. Walking in the footsteps, casting out the fear. Insignia the colors of the deepest indigo blue. I'm rising through the shadows with a spirit born anew. Then in the peaceful stillness of the sky blue day, I'm glorifying teachings in a holy kind of way. Artistic beauty in the struggle, sweet and so refined, leaving all the bitterness and the wreckage far behind. I'm erupting from the ground, the courageous flow of rain, turning all the sacrifice into a sacred game.
I rose, the essence of the bloom, burning through the storm, making plenty room. Golden orange, praising the glory of the sun. Watch out for the rise, and the work has just begun. I rose, a slow burning flame in the indigo night. I'm calling out the name from the thorns to the victory, shining through the gray. I am the EyeRose at the end of the day. Smiling at the sunrise, smiling at the sunrise, opening my eyes. A golden orange bloom against the morning skies, rising oracle. The victory is mine in the essence of the rose. I continue to shine. I rose. Watch me rise. I rose.
Watch me rise.
The rose moon found its essence called home. A symbolic visual of a radiant golden orange rose blooming beneath a grand rising sky. The rose journeyed through storms, shadows, and rain, yet now radiates peace instead of pain.
Welcome back, Rosebuds, to EyeRose Oracle. The rose found its essence called home. What if you stopped asking the world to approve your bloom and simply allow your fragrance to become part of it? Let's walk through the journey of EyeRose Oracle, the essence that has led her home.
A luminous fragrance that flows through the air, gently touching people from all walks of life, while only a few will become her heirs. While the essence symbolizes understanding, compassion, freedom, and transformation, the fragrance is invisible, yet seen as streams of golden and sky blue light moving across landscape, awakening hearts rather than forcing change, and breaking the opposes apart. In the distance, calm waters represent a continuing peaceful voyage, and content as the resonating sunrise compose the horizon from the residue and midst of the fragrance. Overall, not feeling the absence of the storm, but discovering the peace and clarity above it all. Furthermore, expressing the philosophy that the essence is the treasure, ensuring a vibrant rose bloom and a peaceful greatest gift within the storm. Not merely the bloom, but the fragrance of understanding that naturally fills the air, and allowing others to evolve.
Welcome to the Fragrance of EyeRose journey. where I learned to release the tears instead, to embrace the peaceful essence of home. Unfolding a Soul Journey, Episode 4 Blooms. This place, pain, betrayal, loss, and the shadows transformed me. As in Psalms 23:4, to stand I had to trust in God and know, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. At this point in my journey, as I have said countless times, I am truly grateful to be standing here today to be able to tell my story. Because as I reflect, I remember plenty of times that it felt like death. It felt like, the enemy was, in sort of destroying me. And I had to push and fight through that journey. And I'm here to say that it wasn't an easy journey, but thankfully I pulled through. And I had to look deep down inside of me to find out what was the journey about. Because in the midst of it, as I sought help, to resolve the issues that I was going through. The property issues and trying to get justice through the law. And you felt like, I was being defeated through the loss of my child, trying to get justice and really finding out, getting to the bottom of what really happened. And nothing was going through, and I had to do a lot of it alone. I thank God for all those that was there to help me through the journey. But when you're in the midst, in the home alone, in your mind, dealing with that darkness, it feels alone. So I truly have to say that I felt like I was in the midst of the valley of the death, shadow of death. But I had to learn not to fear any evil because I was getting countless attacks against me. A lot of people, was hoping that all that they were putting me through would push me to the point that I would lose my mind, or push me to the point that my health would fail to the point I wouldn't survive. But it took me going within, praying and believing and trusting that God would anchor my soul. Um,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Hey. Oh. I held my spirit open like a heavy wooden door, inviting every stranger to the center of my floor. I thought that being hollow was the way to let them in, but they left their muddy footprints on the places I had been. They mistook my softest temper for a mind that didn't know that the seeds of my affection were the hardest ones to grow. It wasn't ignorance that kept me standing in the rain. It was a choice to offer shelter while I carried all the pain. Now the hinges are all rusted and the wood is turning cold, frozen by the stories that the careless people told. Oh, is it wrong to love so boldly in a world that's turned to stone, to give away the harvest that you labored for alone? They devoured every blessing like they had a right to take. Then they wondered why the vessel was the first thing meant to break. Now I'm learning how to listen to the sound
in the room, waiting for the wisdom in the middle of the gloom. Maybe they were shattered long before they met my eyes, looking for a miracle beneath these heavy skies. They expected love to linger while they tore a limb from them, watching every golden light begin to flicker and to dim. A heart that gives so freely is a target for the blind, who cannot see the treasure that the Spirit has refined. It's a gift that's ordained from a source they'll never reach, a lesson in the mercy that the broken cannot teach. I'm retreating from the winner of a love that was one-sided, seeking out the sanctuary where my soul is finally guided. Is it wrong to love so boldly, in a world that's turned to stone, to give away the harvest that you labored for alone? They devoured every blessing like they had a right to take. Then they wondered why the vessel was the first thing meant to break. Now I'm learning how to listen to the silence in the room, waiting for the wisdom in the middle of the gloom. It's a divine fire burning, but I have to watch the flame moving with discernment, so I don't forget my name. I will give it knowingly, to the ones who understand that love is not a weakness. So when it's resting in your hand, moving with wisdom now, giving with a knowing heart. No more tearing us apart, just a love that's purely grown on a foundation of my own.
I can, reflect on many of my friends and family that were, especially in the process of fighting with, for my property, because that was going on way even before I lost my child. And many people would say you should move, or I really fear for you, being there by yourself. I'm worried and all that. And I understood. But, to really be honest, when it came down to me, going to the courts and all that, no one was there to be found but, my daughter. And I thank God for her. And it wasn't really that people didn't care, but what I understood is they realized the power that I was going against. And, they were worried about making sure that, it didn't cause issues for them. So, I had to trust that there was a greater power, and I had to realize that what I was fighting for, yes, it would have been easy for me to say, let me move, let me walk away. But how many times have we heard this story? How many times have our people had to walk this journey and leave and, of that which they felt like they deserved to enjoy. I haven't been able to enjoy my property for a long time, and I felt like it was not fair to me to have to walk away from something I put all my hard earnings in, walk away from something that I truly enjoy, because somebody else wanted it and felt like I didn't deserve it or whatever they felt, but felt that they would go through whatever was necessary to push me to leave it so they can receive it. And, I knew that this place was a gift from God when I get to tell you the story, and even though it was a gift from God and going through what I had to go through, I would sometimes question myself, because it almost felt like a curse. This is something that I desired, that, I really feel like I worked hard to achieve and finally achieved it. And somebody else telling me I don't deserve it, they want it, and gonna do whatever they needed to do to push me away from it. And then there's no protection. The people put in place to protect me. No protection. And a lot of times they would say, well, it's a property issue. No, it's not a property issue when somebody is constantly trespassing on your property, constantly tearing down boundaries that you put up to protect and put boundaries on your property. It's not a property issue when you're study being intimidated, to push you to give up and leave. Furthermore, I look at this is 2026, and still you tell me that people are able to tell you where you can't live or try to push you out of something that you chose to, provide for yourself and enjoy. And because they wanted you now you need to go because you fear for your life. So it's not that I'm, the pride, or I'm something I'm holding on, but it's the principle of the thing. We're in 2026, and you mean to tell me because of the color of our skin? And I know a lot of people like to like to say it's not a race issue, but it is, because it's funny that many of us, when we go through triumphs and we go to courts, we can't get justice. And you got people that is not of the same ethnic background that might go through the same thing, and they both roll over to help them. I look at this young man that has been unalived. I look at Shaquille Robinson, that family has been fighting for justice for so long. And it's, something that, other situations. I remember a situation with another ethnic background that got missing or got unalived by her boyfriend, and they immediately went and found her boyfriend, and gave them justice. So why is it so many of us that can't receive the justice that we deserve? Even sometimes when we are paying money for attorneys and all, and we still have to fight, especially when the attorneys is the same background as us. They go through a lot. So, when are we going to end this type of thing? And that's why I know y'all heard my song on the 4th of July. Let real justice reign. Not justice because of who you are, not just because you can pay for it, but justice because you need to get what your hands call for, regardless of race, creed, and color. And many probably say, wow, she sounds so upset. But if you knew my story, if you knew the countless times I have been through situations and received the injustice because of who I am. And then it's like, if you come from a certain background or whatever, you're still judged. You're still denied because you don't fit the status quo. And it's time for an end to that. It takes me back to my song. And I ask those that, look at people and judge them of what kind of help they will receive because of the color of their skin. What if it was you? What if the tables were turned, as my song has said? And I'm telling you, I can name so many different incidents that I've been through and had injustice served where justice should have been served. So this is where I won't say the anger come from, but the passion in what I'm speaking today. And So, this is not all that. I didn't come here to, express, anger and bitterness and all that, but actually I came here to express my gratitude for where I have come or became because of all that I've went through. This is just to really give you a little look into what I've gone through so that you can understand the gratitude when I speak of. What you hear in me today is the depth that I had to go through in order to dig deep down within me to find another alternative to see this thing through so that I can find peace within myself, being that the justice would not bring me peace. So I am truly grateful that I have gotten to the point I am today. And this is what I speak about. It's funny that during the rose moon, I really got to see the meat and potatoes of what was supposed to come up out of this journey for me. And this is why I say the rose moon helped me to find my way home. Because, though there was heartaches, though there was injustice, though there was betrayal, because a lot of these people pretend to be my friends, a lot of even my neighbors pretend to be my friends, and, that they were trying to help me at some point in time, and then to see the manipulation that they would do in order to try to make it look like I was the problem when they really was the problem, because they were trying to take what belonged to me. And even I was attacked in front of the sheriff, and she seen what went on and still found it in, her best interest to, say, to speak in his behalf, I would say. Act like things that transpired that they didn't transpire. As I think about the sheriff changing her story, I think about how she's the one that filed the assault on a female charge and actually had to tase the man off of me and then get in court and said she tased him before he made contact with me. But like I said, I have receipts in her report. So this is the stuff that really ceased to amaze me when it comes to them protecting their peers and comrades or someone of their interest or prestige because he was a retired fireman. But, I'm going to say allegedly because I have no reason to lie about it. And that was hurtful, and this is what I mean by the betrayal. It just was so much.
Carried this fire like a torch in the dark, a wide open spirit and a genuine spark. I gave it away with my hands reaching out, without any shadow or flicker of doubt. I thought if I offered the best parts of me, the world would respond with some basic honesty. But they saw a target where I saw a bridge. They looked for a ledge while I stood on a ridge. They took every kindness and called it a flaw. A lack of defenses was all that they saw. Not seeing the strength that it takes to be kind, leaving the wreckage and hollow behind. Now I am standing with pockets of air, wondering if love is a burden to bear. If being a light means you're destined to fade by the hands of the people for whom you had prayed. It's a divine design, a love that was ordained, but it's bleeding out from the way I've been drained. I gave them a kingdom, they gave me the dust, mistaking my mercy for blind simple trust. Now the boldness is frozen, the warmth has gone cold, retreating from stories that shouldn't be told. I learned it too late, but I'm standing my ground. Love must be rise when the broken are found. Maybe they couldn't see beauty in bloom, trapped in the shadows and walls of their room, expecting a heart to just suffer and stay while they devour and throw it away. Careless for spirits and reckless for souls, leaving behind all these bottomless holes. But this was a gift, not a symptom of blind, not a lack of a map or a lost wandering mind. It was a choice to be open and real, to offer the power of all I could feel. Now I move different with eyes that can see the difference between who is whole and who's free. I won't let the bitterness settle in deep or lose all the promises I meant to keep. But the gates are now guarded, the entry is earned by the weight of the lessons that I had to learn. It's a divine design, a love that was ordained, but it's weeding out from the way I've been drained. I gave them a kingdom, they gave me the dust, mistaking my mercy for blind simple trust. Now the boldness is frozen, the warmth is gone cold, retreating from stories that shouldn't be told. I learned it too late, but I'm standing my ground. Love must be wise when the broken are found. Moving with discernment now, giving what I have to those who know how to hold a heart without breaking the glass, watching the shadows and silhouettes pass, divinely giving, unceasingly grown, but finally keeping a peace for my own.
And for him to actually build a fence even while on my property while we're going to court, and I bring it up to my legal aid lawyer and show pictures and all of that and bring it up to the courts, and they chose not to even address the issue. So and not even give me a restraining order. So yes, it hurts, and this is what you hear in me. What you're also hearing is the intimidation and harassment tactics haven't end. You know, cars being tampered with. I find dogs that was very healthy. The day before. Just on June 26th, I find a dead dog in my pond when we know no dog ain't gonna just walk in the middle of the pond and drown. And the pond is dry, so he's not gonna walk on the edge and go into the pond and drown. Dogs know how to swim, so how did that dog get into the middle of my pond? And guess what? I was told to send the pictures and there investigate, but to this day I haven't heard anything. Not saying they haven't investigated, but that was kind of taken lightly as well. Then I have to call a week or two later. My neighbor let her 3 German shepherds out. They going into my dog house trying to attack my dog, all 3 of them at once. I'm calling her. She won't even answer her phone. Text her, no response up until this day. And I had to even let her know again, even after that, almost a week later, the same issue. So this is where all of the frustration and passion comes in, because you get to a point that you really get tired, and I won't say I'm just tired, I'm exhausted. But I know that there's a God, and I'm not going to let it take me down. And this is why I had to find the peace within me. I have to still try to be happy. I have to still find some kind of enjoyment to keep me from focusing on what's going on around me. And this is what I speak of when I talk. I mean, make these songs that I've made. When I speak of, heaven on earth, I have to find that heaven, that peace within, in order to stay alive, in order to keep my health up. When it came to me to do episode 4, what struck me to do it was, I was just going through my photos and stuff, trying to look for something, and I realized how much evidence I have of the things that I've went through. So it's not just me speaking, or making this stuff up. I do have receipts, and I had planned on putting them up on this video, but I'm not going to do it at this time, but I have plenty of receipts and have made it known. And like I said, have displayed many in the court to my legal aid attorney, and they just looked over it pretty much. So this is the stuff that really frustrates me. This is the stuff that I ask, when is this stuff going to end? When is we going to start giving justice where it's due, and not because people can buy their way out, or their prestige can buy their way out, but because they, need to take accountability for their actions. If you're going to be big and bold enough to do the crime, as I said, be big and bold enough to be accountable for it, and not try to then duck and hide and act like you're innocent and all that, and try to put the blame on the person that is innocent. So this is the stuff that I want to see change, and not that I'm the person to make it be done, but I pray that we all learn to really take accountability of ourselves and our actions and make a change. As I reflect on my journey home, I think about the many times that I've heard people say, well, Sharon, won't you sue them? Well, won't you call immigration on them, and yes, I could have done that, but that was not in my heart to try to do something to hurt somebody else, to cause issues for somebody else, because I'm already going through what these people is doing to me, and I know what it feels like. I know these people have children and all that, so it wouldn't just affect them, it would affect their children too. But that's just the type of heart that I have. And many have told me, Sharon, you're too kind. You always trying to find a peaceful way out. Always, thinking about, being kind to everybody else. And it's true, and I had to really even look at it. A lot of times I would put my self aside, my peace, you know, my I would say justice that I deserve aside, because I'm thinking about somebody else's well being. But it's just the type of heart that I have. So it's not that I'm this vicious person, just trying to cause problems for people. No, if I was trying to do that, I would have done it long ago, when I have seen how these people have destroyed my property, making big holes in my property and stuff, cutting down my large trees and stuff. There's no reason for them to even come onto my property, because of the way the property is uh positioned. So who would have the audacity to come on somebody else's property and cut their trees and stuff, and then feel like they are wrong for standing up to them and saying something about it? That is just crazy to me. But this is the time we're living in. These the type of people we have. And I've heard a saying that, some people don't have souls. And I'm starting to believe that.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Mm. Ooh.
held my spirit open like a heavy wooden door, inviting every stranger to the center of my floor. I thought that being hollow was the way to let them in, but they left their muddy footprints on the places I had been. They mistook my softest temper for a mind that didn't know that the seeds of my affection were the hardest ones to grow. It wasn't ignorance that kept me standing in the rain. It was a choice to offer shelter while I carried all the pain. Now the hinges are all rusted and the wood is turning cold, frozen by the stories that the careless people told. Is it wrong to love so boldly in a world that's turned to stone, to give away the harvest that you labored for alone? They devoured every blessing like they had a right to take. Then they wondered why the vessel was the first thing meant to break. Now I'm learning how to listen to the silence in the room, waiting for the wisdom in the middle of the gloom. Maybe they were shattered long before they met my eyes, looking for a miracle beneath these heavy skies. They expected love to linger while they tore it limb from limb, watching every golden light begin to flicker and to dim. A heart that gives so freely is a target for the blind, who cannot see the treasure that the Spirit has refined. It's a gift that's ordained from a source they'll never reach, a lesson in the mercy that the broken cannot teach. I'm retreating from the winter of a love that was one-sided, seeking out the sanctuary where my soul is finally guided. Is it to love so boldly, in a world that's turned to stone, to give away the harvest that you labored for alone? They devoured every blessing like they had a right to take. Then they wondered why the vessel was the first thing meant to break. Now I'm learning how to listen to the silence in the room, waiting for the wisdom in the middle of the gloom. It's a divine fire burning, but I have to watch the flame, moving with discernment so I don't forget my name. Hey, I will give it knowingly to the ones who understand that love is not a weakness when it's resting in your hand. Moving with wisdom now, giving with a knowing heart. No more tearing us apart, just a love that's purely grown on a foundation of my own.
So actually, I had no other choice but to seek peace. For years, I wondered whether choosing peace meant I had to become less of a fighter. Today, the answer to my own question is no. I fought until I had nothing left to prove. Peace wasn't surrendering my courage. Peace was the wisdom that remained after courage had given everything it could. That's one of the deepest truths I uncovered. Another thing I realized in this is the essence I often speak of is the treasure. The treasure is finding the peace, clarity, and understanding of the jewels that came through all this. The pain, storms, and shadows transformed me. The battles taught me courage. The exhaustion taught me surrender. The surrender opened the door to peace, and peace gave my voice room to bloom. I no longer measure my strength by how fiercely I can fight. I measure it by how faithfully I can remain true to who I have become. So to continue to live, I had to go deep within because it was the only path that still gave me life. Freedom is arriving at peace, not because the painful journey stopped. Peace wasn't the reward after the journey. Peace became the way I could continue the journey. The experience became the flower. Understanding became the fragrance. The fragrance filled the air, allowing its aroma to evolve others. The journey didn't end with peace when peace was found. The journey truly began when peace found me. The essence was always the treasure. The fragrance is reaching home too. Many have said to me, Sharon, have that property, that land, you should be, good. You should be enjoying, the land and peace and all of that. But that sound like how it should be. But with going through all that, it robbed me of, really seeing the land as a blessing and really seeing the peace that I could enjoy. But now that I have found my way home, I look at this place as my sanctuary. And I try to enjoy this, going out there, walking through nature, just hearing the stillness and quietness, in the midst of the storms that I might walk through daily. But I thank God for being able to reach this point where I have found the treasure, which is peace, clarity, and understanding of the path and journey that I had to walk to get to this point. So as that said, I am truly grateful at this time, and I'm learning to try to enjoy it. Though, there's time I go out there, I got to worry about people dogs coming onto my property, but I'm, gonna get past that and, do what I have to do. They are giving me no choice but to, do what I have to do, whether it's, getting a lower evolve and even taking it further than that, they don't seem to take me serious. So I say to all my rosebuds who can relate to what I have expressed and encountered through my journey, to find the peace within, the peace that surpasses all understanding, and continue to rise.
I laid my spirit on the altar of your palms, thinking kindness was a language you could speak. I gave the gold within my chest without a qualm, never knowing you would view my strength as weak. You saw a door and thought it meant I was afraid. You saw the grace and thought it meant I didn't know, but it was intentional, the sacrifice I made, a chosen harvest that I decided I would sow. Now I am standing turn so quickly into stone, trying to find the pieces to make the image whole. In a house of mirrors where I'm standing all alone. Is it wrong to love so boldly, unapologetically, when the world just wants to tear the silk apart? How did we get lost in this game of ambiguity, with 1,000 different labels for a broken heart? Now we're frozen in emotion, retreating to the cold, afraid to say the words that we used to say so bold. Yeah. Maybe this evolution of the broken and the bruised is why we keep our promises so quiet and undefined. We're walking through the shadows, feeling scattered and confused, with our destinies and heartstrings so painfully intertwined. I see the brothers and the sisters searching for a way to avoid the same despair that left us hollow in the night, seeking same-sex sanctuary where the heavy price we pay is hidden in the darkness while we're reaching for the light. It's not my place to judge the way we choose to survive, or the armor that we fasten just to keep the dream alive. But I miss the days when giving wasn't seen as a mistake, before we learned to shutter every window for our sake. Is it wrong to love so boldly, unapologetically? Why, when the world just wants to tear the silk apart? How did we get lost in this game of ambiguity, with 1,000 different labels for a broken heart? Now we're frozen in the motion, retreating to the cold, afraid to say the words that we used to say so bold. Yeah. Retreating to the ice, retreating to the grave, looking for the boldness that we threw away. Is it wrong to love? Is it wrong to give? In a world where we've forgotten how to truly live.
Even through injustice, even through corruption, even through chaos, because the journey home is the best treasure you can find. Understand there is a power over that power that is trying to overcome you. The tongue is mightier than the sword. And even in stillness, the bloom continues to rise.
Blooming beneath the grand rising sky, the rose journeyed through storms, shadows, and rain, yet now radiates peace instead of pain. The petals release a luminous fragrance that flows through the air, gently touching people from all walk of life. while only a few will become her heirs. While the essence symbolizes understand, compassion, freedom, and transformation, the fragrance is invisible, yet seen as streams of golden and sky blue lights moving across landscape. In the distance, calm waters represent a continuing peaceful voyage and content, as the resonating sunrise compose a horizon from the residue and midst of the fragrance. Overall, not feeling the absence of the storm, but discovering the peace and clarity above it all. Furthermore, expressing the philosophy that the essence is the treasure, ensuring a vibrant rose bloom and a peaceful grand rising is the greatest gift within the storm. Not merely the bloom, but the fragrance of understanding that naturally fills the air and allowing others to evolve.
Thanks for watching. This content is covered under the Copyright Protection Act 107 for entertainment purposes only, etc.